You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to the Bright Life Podcast. I'm so excited as always to have you here and today to share something that I hope pumps you up, reminds you why you're doing what you're doing and why you're working so hard and doing so much for so many people. And that is how to reconnect to your why, right? Because I think if you're in that building stage, especially if you're in the messy middle where you haven't seen the outcome yet, where you haven't realized your goal, but you're still going through with the actions and you're showing up and you're consistent and you get up again when you fall, it can be so hard to remember why you're doing this and how amazing it is that you are and how far that you've come. And so I totally relate to that in many different areas. And I want to just share things that have really helped me reconnect to that why and get excited again when I'm in the middle of something and really just stay consistent and keep that consistency so that I can and so you can get to the goal that we are after. All right, so the first thing that really helps me is to make a list of all the ways that what I'm doing can make an impact for someone else. And this will vary depending on what you are working on, right? Like maybe you're working on a relationship or a health goal or a business, a service, that kind of thing. So you might have to adapt this a little bit to your scenario, but list out all the ways that this thing is really going to either help someone else or help you or both, right? So if you are starting a business and you are working on inspiring others or coaching them in some way, really connect to what that transformation is for them, to what you bring into their life. If you are starting a side hustle, maybe you have an art side hustle and you're starting to sell things on the side, maybe it's a little jewelry shop or paintings at the farmer's market, whatever it may be, really connect to, even for you, what does that do for you? What kind of income does that make for you? What are you going to do with that income? What does that free you from in terms of being able to be your own boss or to have more to save or invest? Are you saving for a trip or something that's really exciting for you? Also connect to the people that your service helps, right? Like the fact that someone gets to go home with something that you created and every day they get to look at that thing and feel joy or feel beauty or feel peace. Like that's amazing that you can bring that ripple effect into someone's life. And that impacts their relationships, right? Like that impacts their mood, their tone, their stress. So it may feel like a little thing, but sometimes I think things feel little when we have forgotten how big they are and what a big difference they can really make. So take some time to reconnect to that. And I know that for me even, I love to do this with my agency and even my students, where I love to remember that these writers are getting to go and create more financial freedom for themselves and creative freedom to work on projects they love and writing about industries they care about. I love that they get to have location freedom, that they can work from anywhere in the world. And I remember that used to be a dream of mine. And it felt so far away and like a faraway possibility that I could never create. And the fact that it's here and you can make money doing that, that's the best, right? Or even just the freedom to design their day where it's like you can wake up and go to an appointment or to a yoga class or go get a coffee or go for a walk before getting into the workday and rushing into a commute, right? Like I remember the feeling of not having to set my alarm, and it was such an overwhelming feeling for me because for decades, basically, I'd set my alarm. And so the first few days, and honestly even months probably, I just remember thinking, I will never take this for granted, this feeling of being able to sleep until my body's rested and then go into my work day. So really reconnect to those little things, because while they may feel little to you now, they may feel really, really big to someone else, right? Another thing that can be really helpful if you're having a hard time connecting to that is journaling on how you felt before this transformation occurred in your life. So, for example, if it's a health goal and maybe you're helping other people get healthy, and maybe you're doing it because you yourself have experienced that, go back and really think about what your life was like before you got into a cadence that feels good with fitness or with food. Think about the things that you used to worry about, right? The way that it used to impact your emotions, your relationships, your stress, your confidence, your daily habits, your sleep, right? Go back and think about that, and then think about where you are and think about all that that has given you, all that has occurred for you to get to this place, and how some people want that transformation so badly, right? And remember that that is what you offer. Maybe it's something else for you. Maybe it's, let's say you are starting a business where you're helping people with finances, right? Or even with writing, since that's what I know about. And it's like, imagine how it feels to not know how to communicate your value, or to have so much to do that you can't possibly go and find the words for it, right? And you don't have time, and so you feel like you're falling behind because you have a million other things to do, and this is the one that's so frustrating to you. And every time you open your computer, you're like, what am I going to say? And then you get to go and you get to have someone who gets it, right? Like who understands where you're trying to go and who can hear about your story and say, this is what you need, and I can take that off your plate. So I'm trying to give lots of examples and not make it all like my world focused, but I think that it can just really help to remember your transformation. Sometimes you're so close to it that you forget what a big difference that what you're doing in the world is making and how much it matters. Another thing that can be really helpful is thinking about like the best parts. So if you want to get more granular and you want to get a feeling attached to it, think about the best parts of whatever you're working for in the transformation you've seen. So let's say it's a relationship, right? And you're in the middle of the relationship, and so you have the day-to-day and you've settled into your routine. Take some time to remember how amazing it is to have someone that you really connect with, and have someone that every Friday night you get to go on dates, and have someone that every time that you want to share a little bit about your day, you can pick up the phone and you can call them, right? And how they are always there for you no matter what has happened, and just almost like bringing yourself into that. Like I feel warm even thinking about those things and how special they are, because think back to when you're dating and how that is not the case, right? Like you don't have someone you can just text about a little joke. Like you have to go do your own grocery shopping, make your own dinners. Like you don't get to share that with someone. So almost just remembering how amazing and how grateful you are for these things. If it's your health, right? Like if you're in the middle of reaching a health goal and it's hard and you're like crushing it every day at the gym and you're drinking your smoothies and you're getting your water goal in, but that's challenging. Think about what you've gained from it though, right? Like think about the confidence that you feel. Think about the way that your muscles feel strong and the way that you know what to eat and you feel so good after your green smoothie and you feel hydrated and you feel like your body, you could go on a hike tomorrow and you feel so good in doing that. Right? Like if you're starting a business and it's hard, that middle stage can be so hard, but think about what it's given you so far. Think about the best parts of it, right? Like I challenge you to even think beyond the good parts, but what are your favorite parts of doing this for yourself and creating this life for yourself and creating this business for others? What do you love so much about it? Is it doing work that's fulfilling to you and that's creative? Is it seeing notifications come in when you receive an invoice and knowing you did that, like you earned that for yourself? Is it putting your message out in the world? Is it that feeling of having no regrets because no matter what happens, you tried your hardest and you went for something? All of these things, right, are just little ways that hopefully you can help lock in. So no matter what it is, you just take a moment and you think about what the best parts are and you really let yourself feel them again. And that can be so helpful because I think it's that autopilot we get into where we forget to actually feel all the rewards we're creating for ourselves, and we forget the reasons we're doing something because we don't allow ourselves to feel it anymore. And we get so close to it that we can't even really see. So you almost have to bring yourself into the feeling of it again, and that's what reconnects you to it emotionally, right? A feeling is an emotion, so it's like what's going to connect you? It's that emotion, it's that feeling. So try and remember the best parts and just really sit in the feeling of those. 2 last little really practical, tactical kind of things that you can do is go through your emails and read testimonials, right? Like maybe people have sent you emails or you've seen screenshots or you have a Facebook group. But I love to go through and just remember what people have said to me and what a big difference it meant to them at that time, right? Because maybe I'm close to it and maybe I've been in the day-to-day before and it feels routine in my life now. But I love when I get new students or they send me emails and I just get to remember the celebrations again and the feeling of the first client or being able to charge something you've never charged before and the rush of putting your name on a business or getting an LLC or publishing your website. That's so exciting. So just remembering through their words what they've thanked you for can be huge. I even do this thing where I save this little folder in my inbox of kind words. So, right, because you can have hard days and it can be sometimes challenging to remember that in those hard days. So I'll literally go, and if someone sends me something nice about the podcast or business or anything, oftentimes I'll put it into that folder and I can just go through that. And I have one on my phone, I have one on my, Gmail app, but I can just go through and I can just remember and reconnect to the people and the reasons why I'm doing this and the changes they're seeing in their life and how good and proud and happy that makes me feel. And so that can be the case for you, whether it's starting a business, whether it's a health goal, maybe you just write down, you keep a journal of little celebrations and synchronicities that happen, right? That the first 2 pounds or fitting into this swimsuit or this pair of jeans or feeling confident going out, right? Almost just remembering it's partly this celebration act of gratitude of just remembering those things, and you can help yourself by actually making it easier, whether it's a folder you keep, whether it's a journal or a log you keep of celebrations, and just remember all the ways you're supported and all the ways that you are creating that ripple effect. And that can do so much to just reconnect you to your why and to your cause and to keep you going even when it's hard. Because it is going to be hard some days. And so I just want to share with you, you're going for it, you're doing it. Just, you should be so proud of yourself. You're doing something that so few people do and consistently show up for day in and day out. And I know you can't always see the results or you aren't as far as you want to be. But the fact that you keep showing up, the fact that you believe there's something here that's worth it, is amazing. And you should really celebrate yourself in that. And I hope that these just little tips, little tricks help you. Just reconnecting to the ways that you are helping others or you're making a difference or what they're getting out of your product or service, the ways it's changing the world even in little ways, which actually oftentimes become big ways that you can't even see. Remembering the transformation for you, how it felt, what the transformation was like, really looking at the best parts of it too. So even in the thick of it, what are your favorite parts right now? And feel those. Let the feeling create the experience for you. And then, of course, read the words people have sent you, because if you can't find the words yourself or if you've had a hard day, that can really be enough to just turn it around and keep you going and help you remember why your work is needed, why your message is so valuable, why we need you to say it, not anyone else but you, and how you'll do it differently than anyone else and why that is so important. So I hope this is encouraging to you and just reminds you that I'm so appreciative you're out there. Keep going and really remember that your why is so important, and we're so grateful that you're out here doing the damn thing. All right, talk to you again soon. If this episode resonated with you, I have something you are going to love. As you may know, part of what helps me create my own version of my brightest life is copywriting and content marketing. Building a content business helped me replace and surpass my corporate income, to see the world while working from anywhere, and to choose clients that light me up every single day. If you're at all curious about doing the same, I have broken it down for you in a copywriting starter kit, all the beginning steps you need to build your own profitable freelance business. I will link it in the show notes, so definitely check it out if you're interested. Thank you so much for being here, and I will chat with you next Thursday.